My 6 times great grandpa, Joseph Mabie, born in 1729. I'd say he was 46 years old or so during the Revolution.
Yeah.
Do you know if Joseph Mabie got involved further once people had to sign up to fight?
I do have another document. See what you can make of this.
Wow.
Trees. We start with Nicholas D. Offerman.
Mm-hmm.
That's my name. Most people know me as my stage name, George Clooney. And Dad, Frederick Offerman, Mom, Catherine Roberts, her parents, my grandpa, Michael D. Roberts, Eloise Laux, Grandma L.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep digging here.
So my Aunt Mickey was able to trace Grandma L's family back to my 5 times great-grandparents who lived in New York.
Joseph Laux, born in 1754 in Albany County, New York, and Margaretha Mabie. Well, that's as far as this tree goes. That is incredible. In the peak of their lives, our country had a revolution, much of which took place in the state in which they lived.
We hit a brick wall here and haven't been able to find any additional information about him. But I did contact the Museum of the American Revolution, and I got an email back from the director, Scott Stevenson.
Dear Michelle, thanks for your research questions. I have located a few documents in the museum's archives that should help with your search, and I'd be happy to take Nick through them. I will be in New York this week, and if he'd like to meet with me, please have him reach out. All the best, Scott.
It's exciting.
This is so crazy. This is legitimately exciting. What kind of documents existed in that day?
We don't have any idea. We can't wait to find out.
So tomorrow, I'll be off to New York to find out what my family was doing during the Revolutionary War. I don't know if you've seen the newspaper, but there was a pandemic. I've been waiting 1.5 years to find out about my 5 times great-grandparents. So Scott Stevenson asked me to meet him at the oldest pub in Albany. So let's keep this party going. Cheers. I'm hoping with your acumen, you can tell me a little more about these ancestors that my Aunt Mickey looked up. Joseph Laux Sr. and Margaretha Mabie, which I still feel like there's a who's on first to be written around this.
Maybe.
No, I'm asking you, but tell me straight.
Right. So these are familiar. These are your 5 times great-grandparents. And one of the things that stood out was the Mabie name. Mabie is a fairly common name in what was sort of the greater Albany area, going back to the colonial era. And so I was able to push your family tree back a few more generations.
That's astonishing. The document trail ended for the Laux line, but Scott was able to find more on my Mabie lineage, starting with my 6 times great-grandfather, Joseph Mabie.
Actually, I'd love to show you a map of the area just to get a sense of like Joseph Mabie's world here. Ooh. You're looking at the Hudson Valley in the 18th century.
And who's living here at this time?
It's a very ethnically diverse place, a lot of indigenous people living here, particularly Mohawk people and Iroquois people, Dutch and French, African descent. I mean, just about anyone who's in colonial America is concentrated here. And this becomes one of the most fought over places in the whole colonial era. Whoever controls this waterway controls North America. And in 1775, the people living here, they've just gotten word that fighting has broken out in Massachusetts. It's the era of the American Revolution, and everyone's starting to look at each other and going, if that conflict comes to us, Mr. Offerman, where will you stand? Are you going to stand with the king? Are you going to stand with Congress?
What a terrifying atmosphere of paranoia and distrust.
It's a dangerous situation, and the consequences of the choice that you make at this point, we all know how civil wars often end.
So in 1775, my 6 times great-grandpa, Joseph Mabie, born in 1729, I'd say he was 46 years old or so during the Revolution. Do you know if Joseph maybe got involved further once people had to sign up to fight?
I do have another document. See what you can make of this.
Wow. Following the maybe line, do you know if Joseph maybe got involved further once people had to sign up to fight?
I do have another document.
Now it occurs to me, a la Christmas morning, to look over there and see what is still under the tree.
See what you can make of this.
It looks like a receipt. Joseph Maybe, private, appears as shown below on a receipt roll. Revolutionary War, not a big deal. Witness our hands, September 27th, 1784. Kanjahari District, Montgomery County. Joseph, his mark, Maybe, private. M-A-Y-B-Y though, but I'm gonna guess that's who we're looking for.
You found him.
To be clear, if it says his mark, it means he can't write.
Correct. Yeah.
Fascinating. My head is spinning a little bit because this is wild. Like, I have to say, it's a great relief because God love you, Grandpa Joe. But I was terrified that he was going to be some sort of, he was Benedict Arnold's right hand. I'm glad to know that Joseph Maybe stood up and said, we're going to get behind this Continental Congress down in Philadelphia. We like the cut of their jib. We like these intrepid new ideas, which took a lot of guts. Presumably, Great-Grandpa Joe had a piece of land. There was something that made him value his place in this community. I think that he and his family were undoubtedly rooted to this neighborhood.